Hi, Aries. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's go ahead and get into your reading for June 2019. I've shuffled your cards. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more, and then we will pull a Celtic cross, okay? Show me energy for Aries, June 2019. Aries, June 2019. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, June 2019. Celtic cross. One more. Okay. All right, first card out of the deck, you have Strength in Reverse. So Strength in Reverse can talk about a lot of things. You could be dealing with a Leo, Aries, but it also talks about energy where we are having difficulty with our patience, having difficulty with calming our anger. Sometimes it can be laziness. Sometimes it can just be procrastination. There's a lot of energy here, though, where it feels like we may be a little bit exacerbated, a little bit out of control in certain ways, whether that be with the person or whether that be with ourselves. The obstacle of this reading, you have the Devil in Reverse. So could be dealing with Capricorn energy. The Devil in Reverse, though, is talking about releasing energies of, well, kind of what I said, like laziness, where we are fighting our lack of ambition, where we recognize where those things are connected to toxic behaviors that we may have. And it's releasing it and letting it go. The Devil in Reverse can communicate a lot about releasing codependent energy, stepping away from toxic things that we know make no sense in our lives, yet we've had a difficult time letting them go, to stand in our power, and strength, yet here we've been bogged down with stuff. I'm sorry, my throat, it had fucking allergies. There's like cottonwood trees, and granted, they're gorgeous. It's just like this fairyland, this fucking fairy wasteland of wheezing and everything else. I love this time of year. 9 of Pentacles in Reverse. So this is an interesting card here. The crux of this reading is essentially not feeling satisfied with, could be our finances, our stability, not feeling happy with where we're at in our lives, not feeling stable within ourselves, and doing a lot to get out of it now. So these are lessons that we have to learn. These two Major Arcana cards. Major Arcana come up when the lessons need to be learned, when a situation is going to be affected by something. And it basically talks about not really being able to step away from that energy. You have to kind of endure it. You have to experience it so you can get the meat and potatoes of the message, which is great. But that can also be incredibly difficult for people, because we get very connected to being in our ways. We get set in our ways, and sometimes we need a huge shakeup. Now, I'm so sorry. Now, with the 9 of Pentacles in Reverse, this is basically energy where it's like, how do we go about the stabilization of things? How do we look at ourselves? How do we recognize what we need to release so we can actually be better in our lives, better suited in our situations? Where do we need to let go of our egos that are bringing us down, holding us back, things that are self-sabotatory, get a check on them, get a reality, get a pulse on those things in your life. Sit down with like a pen and paper and literally like write things out, like, how am I fucking my life up? Like that kind of stuff. Dear Lord. Recent past, you have the Fool in Reverse. So the Fool in Reverse is an interesting card here as well. Now you have 3 Major Arcana all in reverse. Everybody's getting reversal cards for some reason. I don't know what's up. Tower at the bottom of the deck for this reading. So shift, change, annihilation, decimation, rebuilding. The Fool in Reverse is essentially connected here to this card, I feel. And it's more so in regard to not feeling stable. The things that we get into when we are not doing so well financially, not doing so well within our own personal stability, these things can often lead us to reckless behavior, spending money that we don't have, doing things that are above and beyond our means, living lavishly when, we really should be eating like a salad and, a can of beans or something like that. Like going above and beyond our means in a lot of ways, but also being reckless in that, wasting money and kind of doing so in like this whatever way, And here, stopping that behavior is the point of this card. Stopping that toxic shit is the point of this card. Would you like to come up on the table? Merci. All right, Marcel, chill it out. All right. So between the hacking, the wheezing, the clearing my throat, we have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, we've got the 9 of Pence in reverse, and now we have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is essentially somebody who doesn't have any money. This could be bankruptcy. This could be an energy where we've just blown through everything that we have. We squandered things because we were just blowing them away, And it's caused problems for our lives. It may have caused problems for family in regard to loaning to us, to, you. And this could be a situation where you're dealing with somebody else who may be in this type of behavior, where it's caused a rift between you and them in regard to your connections. But the 10 of Pentacles talks about being without money. It talks about being without stability. It damages connections with families. It is a lack of stability. In the future upcoming, we have the 8 of Swords here in reverse, so that's good. This is about getting out of our mind, getting out. I feel that this reading in particular, Aries, is for somebody who's having a very difficult time battling themselves in regard to life path change, in regard to how to get a handle on maybe what they've experienced in their life so far. And now it's time to release those things. It's time to really put on the big kid's shoes and step forward in your life in a completely different way. And it feels like this is difficult to do. It feels like somebody's having a very difficult time here and we're kind of floundering. So for this to be into the near future energy, the 8 of Swords in reverse, that's talking about releasing things. 8 of Swords upright can also talk a lot about when we constrict our experience, when we restrict our experience because we have a preconceived notion of how something's going to turn out, how something is going to be, because that's just how it is. That doesn't necessarily mean that's how it is. It's just our minds creating stories. Sometimes that's really difficult to let go of because that's how we believe. Marcel, chill it out. With the 8 of Swords in reverse, it's releasing it, it's letting it go. It's being diligent in the point of not trying to perpetuate those types of mental frustrations for ourselves so we can actually have an easier way of getting out of this versus that cycling feeling. Where you are at and in your emotional state, good. Very, very good. This perfect for what we're talking about here. The Hangman. This is talking about deep contemplation, utter scrutiny, decision-making, feeling things through. This is a card of Pisces as well. Pisces feel everything, but this is more so about really looking at everything that you've been through, really addressing the things that keep you down. A lot of us want to put blame on our experience and the outcome of our experiences on other people when so much of those things are actually our own doing. This is recognizing that, especially with this energy. I'm just going to say it now, Aries, you have a hell of a lot of major arcana here. So these are big life lessons being learned. And I think maybe the way that they're going to be learned is going to have to be through an expression of lack, through an expression of frustration, lack of money, lack of stability in your life. And it's time to rebuild, but in a completely different way. Okay. What's coming toward you? The Moon in reverse. Awesome. So getting real with yourself. I feel that this is a personal reading. I feel that this is a reading more so for a person versus a love relationship. I may do a bonus reading if I have time for you guys, but this may be it. So, the Moon in reverse, what's coming towards you? Could be Pisces energy. You have Pisces here. It could be Cancer energy. I very much associate the moon with Cancer energy as well. But the moon talks about, especially in reverse, it talks about releasing things that are confusing. It talks about seeing the path now where we may have been blinded. It talks about being real with ourselves. The moon in reverse can talk about releasing deception, self-deception, especially with being on top of the hangman. It's almost as if we have a contemplation of the things that we've been telling ourselves, the feelings, the lies, the deception that we've been maybe living in and telling ourselves. It's coming to a head. It's coming out. We're looking at things. We're recognizing things. For strength to be in the center of this reading with the devil in reverse and the Fool in reverse. These are all cards of going about life in a way that is ineffective and difficult to produce positive outcomes that last, because it's so skewed, you know. Hopes, fears, worries, concerns. We have the King of Cups. So I did mention that there's Pisces energy here present twice. Now we have it 3 times. This can also be Cancer or Scorpio. This card more so denotes an energy of Scorpio, but this is the King of Cups here. Now he's pouring out his cup as well. That could be indicative of just pouring out, an outpouring of the emotions that we have in regard to this situation, being real with ourselves. The King of Cups also talks about a fair amount of compassion, recognizing things that may be difficult to address, especially in regard to emotions. The King of Cups talks about somebody who has a difficult time sometimes addressing his emotions. It's not that they're not there. It's just they're hard to kind of access. He's not verbal about them. He doesn't express them to many people. And sometimes they can become a bit of an enigma to himself. Marcel, chill it out. Go lay on like your 7 beds. And mine. Fucking spoiled. Anyways, yeah, Aries. So, and it could be water sign. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Marcel. Outcome card, 5 of Pentacles. So again, we have this lack mentality energy being addressed. You know, the 5 of Pentacles, it talks, sure, it can talk about being left out in the cold and, you know, all of that stuff. But it really talks about, it can address lack mentality. So basically where we believe that we don't deserve something, or we don't have enough, and we maintain that thought, we remain in that energy where there are potentials and things to help us out, we still remain stuck. You know, this type of energy, it feels like somebody is battling a fair amount here within this reading. Somebody's battling a fair amount of energy here. We have all of these major arcana cards, and they're all in reverse except this one, which is where you're essentially at within yourself, which talks about changing your views, looking at what no longer works in your life. Are you happy with the way that things have turned out, you know? So let's go ahead and also recognize this Tower here, another major arcana in your reading at the bottom of the deck. So this presides over the entire reading of the energy here, which is essentially letting things fall so you can rebuild. Another scorpionic energy here. Show me for Aries, please. Aries, I want to clarify for Aries. June 2019, Aries, clarify for Aries. Clarify for Aries. I just heard, what is that? How do you say that? You can't make the square peg fit in the circle, or like the hole, or I don't know. Do you have an idea that there is, like, you've been going in this particular way because you think conforming to something is going to cause you to not be in touch with yourself? Sometimes conforming is actually okay. It's helpful for us. It gives us some stability and guidelines And sometimes that's very important. You know, I buck the system as much as I fucking can. I can't stand the system. I'm very anarcho, and you know, I don't like a lot of things that are subscribed to us. And I can understand that type of energy too, but there's a point where we also have to kind of get on the boat with the rest of the people so we can maintain some sort of connection with society. And also, you know, because you're essentially subject to society, okay? Whether you want to choose to be or not, you're essentially subject to society, so you have to at least kind of play by their rules, you know, kind of play by their rules. All right, 2 more shuffles and then we will go. All right, so Strength in reverse, you have the 3 of Cups in reverse. So Strength in reverse, the 3 of Cups in reverse with the Devil in reverse, you know, I'm going to also, what I feel initially is the energies of some of these cards upright as well, especially the Devil upright. This is basically getting involved in situations that are negative as far as like over drinking, being compulsive in our eating, you know, doing things that are just frivolous and wasteful, things that bring us their base needs. They're like instant gratification type stuff, and it's like really having to maintain understanding of them. But what it does is it also it brings us into contact with people that are like-minded in those regards, which doesn't really help us. It's like, you know, alcoholics like going on the wagon and then like hanging out with alcoholic friends, like, you know, mixing their drinks for them, but not drinking themselves, maybe like licking the straw, you know. It's not really effective. The Devil in reverse, you have the Knight of Cups in reverse. Very interesting energy here with the Devil in reverse. So some of you could be dealing with the Capricorn, some of you could be dealing with Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, but this card combination, very interesting, because this is where we are having a hard time releasing this energy because we're telling ourselves things that are emotionally disruptive. The Knight of Cups in reverse is essentially somebody who blows smoke up our ass. And who better to do that than ourselves? A lot of the times we will fritter away our time doing nonsensical, ridiculous things on the internet, whatever we're doing. It's wasting time. It's not being effective in our life. It is padding situations so we can feel some sort of comfort, even though that is a... it's not true comfort. It's not actual relief. It's a guise, and it's synthetic. The Knight of Cups in reverse, not a very emotionally connected person. For the King of Cups to be here, especially dumping out the emotions, I want to also say that, dumping out the emotions, this is time to cleanse this energy. If we've been lying to ourselves about emotions, if we've been lying to ourselves about how we feel and what we do in our life to be effective, this is essentially dumping those unhealthy emotions out and seeking something new. That can be through counseling. That can be, I do want to mention here with the Five of Pentacles, you see the stained glass window in the back? That's church. That is kind of the energy where the Hierophant is. The Hierophant is also the number 5. We have 5 pentacles here. The Hierophant talks about society. The Hierophant talks about connection with, you know, the things that we are supposed to do, the way that we're supposed to be. It can also, too, what I'm feeling here is also a combination of counseling energy, a counselor in regard to helping you out of a situation where we've just kind of been stagnant and floundering. Because if we don't do that, it's almost as if we're kind of doomed to continue this type of behavior. And it's unfortunate because we don't want to do that. We have so many major arcana here which are indicating that we need to change. We need to uplift the situation and really take a deep look at ourselves. But yet we're still falling back into these like psychic toxic, you know, pitfalls. Let's go ahead and for the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, you have the Sun in reverse. So it's very interesting energy. Major arcana is all over the fucking place. Like, change is about to happen whether you like it or not, and I think it's important that you choose to do it. But at least take the steps. Here, though, it's almost as if we, you know, we maintain this disarray, and we do so blindly. Like, we don't pay attention to things. We don't, it's like being consciously unconscious, like not really wanting to see what is right in front of us, not looking at the instability in our lives, yet it's right in front of us. The sun is like, I know it's a positive card, and even in reverse it's positive, which it is. And this is talking just to open your eyes, to open your heart, to open open your wallet, and maybe you'll see that it's not so full, And why is that not so full? Are you not so full in other parts of your life? Where is that wallet an extension of you, And not all of you are going to be dealing with this. I get that. But this is for somebody who is. So, yeah, take a deep look. Please don't just negate and, wash over it with more toxicity, more eating, more drinking, more binging, more out of control behavior, telling ourselves lies, emotional disruption. So, yeah. For the Fool in reverse, you have the Emperor in reverse. So this is a very interesting energy. Again, major arcana du jour up here. But here, the Emperor in reverse with the Fool in reverse, this is harsh energy. So if this is somebody that you've been dealing with, this is a very difficult situation where they've been fucked up. I do want to mention that. Fucked up to a degree where it's like, you can't talk to them. This isn't somebody that is spoken to. Now, because I'm very much jiving with the energy that this is more of a personal dilemma, I don't really feel this to be love. I don't feel this to be like a love relationship gone awry. Like, this feels like somebody digging within themselves to change some shit. There are other readers that will tell you about love, and sometimes I do, and sometimes things just come out in some very interesting ways. So I'm an intuitive reader. This is what's happening in what I'm getting. If it fits, it fits. The Emperor in reverse with the Fool in reverse. So not only is this reckless behavior, this is dangerous, reckless behavior where we don't give a shit about anybody. It's almost nihilistic. That's the energy. It's almost as if the person that I'm talking about kind of holds this crumbling tower around them all the time. They bring destruction, they bring frustration. And, Aries, you could also be dealing with somebody that's like this. This does not just have to be you. You could be dealing with somebody who is about to change their life or having a very difficult time coming to terms with the movement of changing their life. Present energy, the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. You have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Oy. So, somebody who does not have money, somebody who squanders money, somebody who squandered their family inheritance, somebody who goes against their family because they have their own needs to be met. That is a very difficult energy here. Financial loss, stability, loss of stability, very hard-headed, angry type of reactionary feeling. Not so hot. And it's led somebody to a very, very dark time, I feel. The 8 of Swords in reverse. You have the Magician in reverse. A lot of reverse cards here. But I do want to mention on the bottom of this deck, and I'm pulling them out as if I were to do a Celtic cross, because that's what we're doing, and I just feel that I want to do it that way. At the bottom of the deck, you have the King of Swords, so Aquarius, Gemini, Libra energy. Either way, though, it's somebody who is a truth seeker. They go for truth, and they are very diligent in cutting out what it is that does not work for them in their life. So that is the energy presiding over this clarification. Now, with the 8 of Swords in reverse and the Magician in reverse, these are energies where we essentially, it's like, it's almost as if somebody's fighting with themselves to do like the right thing for themselves. It's like a back and forth game here. It's like a back and forth game. It doesn't feel like anything is getting done. It feels like things are just going into the ethers, like nothing's happening that's positive here. I mean, it's positive in the fact that like the change needs to happen and it feels like it's on that path, but getting there, good Lord, like this is like pulling teeth and everything else, you know, this is very difficult. This is a very difficult energy. The Magician in reverse is somebody who is conniving, cunning. They misuse the trust of others. They get what they want. Now the Magician and the Emperor in reverse, very, very toxic energy, very ugly energy, very difficult to deal with, my way or the highway in a multitude of ways. Why is that coming here? I'm going to pull a clarification card from a different deck because those are already shuffled now and I just want to leave them how they are. So the Magician with the Magician in reverse with the Eight of Swords in reverse for Aries. Show me the Magician in reverse with the Eight of Swords in reverse. So you have the King of Pentacles flying out with the Six of Pentacles with the star at the bottom of the deck. More major arcana energy. You have major arcanas all over this place. Something needs to crash and burn here. We need to change this. We need to get in balance with ourselves, within our stability, within our finances. We need to stop giving energy and our money to things that don't make sense for us, people that don't make sense for us. If this is you, Aries, that you've been giving money to somebody that's just been like pouring it down the drain and like doing whatever they want to do, this is time to stand in your power and cut things off, okay? You've been generous enough. Somebody here, either this is somebody being generous enough and pulling back now, or this is somebody getting balance into their life and turning more so towards this King of Pentacles, turning him upright. He's in reverse right now, okay? Squandered, not doing very well. I feel like the Magician in reverse is just simply talking about really addressing what we have already talked about in this reading and making better use of your energy. So coming to the Hangman, you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords talks about getting real with ourselves. It talks, if you look at this bird, if you look at this falcon on top of here, he's got blinders on. It's talking about releasing the blinders, being very true with yourself, finding clarity, honesty with ourselves. What is going on here that we need to release so that we can have a better experience in our life? Because somebody is very, very connected to some very dark energies within themselves, and it's causing a lot of problems in their life. The Moon in reverse, you have the Five of Wands. So this can talk about difficulty, being real with ourselves, having conflict in regard to coming clean about a situation, you know, coming clean to ourselves, having difficulty just believing in the change and the possibility that something can happen. You know, also somebody being very defensive about change as well. For the King of Cups, you have the Empress in reverse. So this is important here. Another major arcana card, huge major arcana card. Both the Emperor and the Empress are in reverse. This could be a dissolve of a situation between you and somebody else who you've been in a long-term situation with. But again, this feels very much like somebody who needs to get out of their bullshit. So here we have this King of Cups pouring out this emotional energy, this emotional wreckage. The Empress in reverse, that's all about wreckage. It's all about not being stable within yourself, not having finances. It talks about not nurturing yourself, being so entwined in things that are incredibly detrimental to us, codependent energy, drinking, drugging, not having any type of desire to go better ourselves. Falling into pitfalls where we are, you know, just sucked into easy themes of life where it promotes like stagnancy and laziness and, you know, slothful energy. I'm not religious at all, but like that very self-serving, slothful type of energy. Five of Pentacles, you have the Five of Swords. So if somebody is having if somebody's having a difficult time getting out of this situation, it's almost as if they're going to go back to it. They're going to go back to the way that they have been operating. And it's a shame because the energy here feels like it's trying to push them out of this type of energy. Yet here, you know, the five of did I say Pentacles? Five of Swords. That, yes, it can talk about somebody who manipulates us, plays mind games, somebody that we want to leave out in the cold, but it can also talk about where we self-sabotage. It can talk about where we self-sabotage to such degree that we keep ourselves out, okay? Bucking the system way too much sometimes. So, and getting real with it. Getting real about that. Cutting that shit out so it doesn't affect us anymore. I think somebody here, could be you, Aries, could be somebody that you're dealing with. I feel somebody here, though, is going through a fair amount and they're not being honest with themselves. They know what they have to do, but they're not doing it. That's what I feel here. And that's frustrating energy to be around and to be part of. Here at the bottoms of the decks, the initial, the clarification deck, you have the Tower and the King of Swords energy, where we are essentially needing to cut something out, needing to break it down. You know, it's done. You know, the King of Swords is interesting because he's less emotional. He's not going to be emotionally tied to something. King of Cups, not so much. But in this particular card in the After Tarot, he's pouring out those emotions. I feel like that's the only way to change this situation, you know, to really do a rehaul on some aspect of our lives, like a huge one. You have... Okay. So, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 major arcana cards. You have equals. You have 10 major arcanas and 10, you know, court cards, or, you know, of the minors. Heavy lessons here, heavy requirements, recognizing what needs to go so we can actually have movement towards what we need. Being very genuine in regard to what we have to look at in our lives so that we can create new change, where we're not hanging on by a thread, going into our new situations, hanging on by a thread, floundering, where we can turn this energy upright and maintain abundance, seek abundance and stability within our lives, radiate, where we put our nose to the grindstone and just fucking own our lives. It's coming. It's coming. Okay? But first we have to release this energy. We have to let this go. This isn't healthy. Okay? We have to be honest with ourselves where we deceive ourselves. If you're dealing with a person, you have to be honest about where they're deceiving you. And how, if you're dealing with a person, it's almost as if they're having like an incredible time changing. It's difficult to change. So I'm going to pull a card from the Demon Tarot, and then from the Nocturna deck, and then we'll be done, Aries. Okay, that flew out. Flaga. Let's read Flaga. I don't know Flaga. Alright, Flaga. Focus on clearing away debris, physical or mental obstructions. So whomever this is for, clearing the mental obstructions, the emotional obstructions, Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. What was that? Okay, now Nocturna deck. So for Aries, show me energy for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. June 2019, show me energy for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for June 2019, please. Nocturna. All right, Aries. You got two popping out, Aries. The first one, you have Tide Pool. And the second one, Lavender. Okay, so let's read both. Tide Pool. Yeah, Marcel. You are the prettiest. That's a concern of his. All right. Tide Pool. Weathering the ebb and flow. During low tide, little pockets of seawater remain on the beach in nooks, holes, and in between rocks. In these pockets, many small organisms such as sea anemones, urchins, and crabs thrive. This card features common creatures found in tide pools here in the Pacific Northwest. These unassuming little oases in a hostile environment serve as a reminder to endure the ebbs and flows of life. When things seem difficult, remember that the tide will always come back. Okay, so sure, the tide will always come back. What I'm feeling, though, is minimal living. The life that creates life in the nooks and crannies of the sludge. It's almost as if we are not progressing into something greater, and we need to pay attention to that. So Lavender, let's see here. Lavender. Peace of mind, serenity, relaxation. The lavender is the ultimate symbol of serenity, due to the relaxing feelings one gets when smelling the flower's beautiful aroma. Historically, lavender was used to cure all sorts of ailments, ranging from gastrointestinal issues to anxiety, and is still used extensively to this day in aromatherapy. It is a flower that encourages meditation, calmness, and peace of mind. Definitely meditate. This is a situation where we really need to be honest with ourselves, where we need to access ourselves. If we have so many energetic blockages here that it's difficult to even just scrape into the surface of it, like, you need to dive deep. So lavender oil is very lovely. It's very peaceful. It's also, the color lavender is very healing. It's associated with crown chakra energy as well. Those purples, you might want to look into the violet flame. That might be something of interest for some people, sweeping the violet flame. Okay, so this has to come down, you guys. Aries, this has to come down. And in this reading, in this card, one person is falling from this building. Often it's two, sometimes it's three. One person is falling from this building. So that's the reading. I really hope it resonated. I know that this isn't for everybody. That's just how it is. Yeah, if you feel that this was helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you choose to donate, there's a link in the description box below. And I want to thank those of you that have. I very much appreciate it. It's incredibly kind and considerate of you, and I value that. And I value that you value my time doing these readings, because they are free and this is time. So anyways, I hope this is helpful for you in whatever capacity. And I will see you guys in a few weeks for June, the midpoint of June's readings, 2019. All right, everybody. I will talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.